Hey guys, welcome to another video. This time we'll be talking about the matches endpoint. So I'm doing a series on the Call of Duty API and how to connect to it, request data. So in my previous videos, I went through the authentication flows. This time I'll be talking about the history, the match history. I had a remark that from my last video could be just 3 minutes long. Well, if you just want to copy the code of these notebooks, you can find them on GitHub. So feel free to just go there and copy the code and use it. Just in this video and in the notebooks, I tried to explain a bit more how the endpoints work, what you have to watch out for. So I'll give extra details, extra commentary for you, so you can learn how to work with Python and with the Call of Duty API. But like I said, it's available on GitHub. You can just copy it if you want. Feel free. If you see any mistakes, feel free to make a pull request. So let's get started for the matches endpoint. I'll start by importing the different modules. I don't have pandas installed yet, apparently, in my project. Let's see if I can quickly fix this. Let's try to import it again. I'll already paste the authentication code. So this code is what I explained in my previous videos. So I use Python request session object to authenticate. Still importing. Well, let's get through the different parts of the matches endpoint. So again, let's find the URL. What was it again? Well, it doesn't matter. I'll put it in the description below, the documentation to all the different endpoints that are available. But like for now, in this video, we'll be talking about the matches endpoint. So this is the URL. I'll go through the different parts. So we have the first part, the version. This should mostly be v2. V2 should work for Warzone. So version v2. The game, this should be, you have MW for Modern Warfare, WWII for World War II, Black Ops BO4 for Black Ops 4. So maybe I'll just list it version. So again, this will be available on GitHub. Oh, it's already available for you to check again. There's plenty more options for games, but yeah, these are some of the examples. Normally for Warzone, it should be Modern Warfare. So we can put this in Markdown. Then the platform. So this is an important one. So mostly it depends on the account for which you want to request data. So mostly it will be Battle.net. So Battle. If you know their Battle.net, PSN, PlayStation. If you know their PlayStation ID, then we have XBL, Xbox Live. and also Activision based on the Activision ID. But the last one is a special one because since January, Activision closed down their API, so it's now not possible anymore to request. So, for example, the match data based on the except for your own profile. So everyone else's profile is locked down unless you know their Battle.net, their PSN, or Xbox Live. So so I should actually remove this one again, or like strike through. Only this one only works for your own profile. And then we have the mode, the game mode. So this part here. Yeah, of course. Sorry, I forgot username. So once you know on which platform, you also of course need to know the corresponding username. Very important. It has to be URI encoded, so it should be URL safe. For example, my PSN is this. And then the mode, we'll have WZ for Warzone, or MP for multiplayer. And then you have we have mode, start, it jumps, start and end time. So that's a timestamp, Unix timestamp. I'll explain this a bit in a bit. So you have a start timestamp and an end timestamp. So you only, for example, want to get the matches between two certain times. It can be interesting for like Warzone kill races. So start and as a Unix timestamp in milliseconds. Also very important. I saw already a lot of questions about, hey, why can I not find any matches? Well, you have to multiply them by 1,000 because it has to be in milliseconds. If you just put zeros, you will get the last 20 matches. But let's just get to some examples. But it seems my playbook doesn't work yet. Let's try again. There we go. This time it works. Then let's authenticate. Okay, we got a 200 response status code. Then we discussed the different parts of the URL. So let's just call the endpoint without any timestamps to just fill in the different parameters here. So we had the version v2, the game, we're going to use w, then platform, so I'm going to use myself as an example, my PSN, my username, and then the mode, we want my Warzone history. And then let's just, for example, leave start and end time blank. Latest matches response. So the session dot get. All right, let's see what's in the, let's call it again. Let's see. Latest. Okay, so we got it successful. Let's see what's in the JSON. Ta-da. So what do we get? We get the latest 20 matches, but we only get a summary per game. So like, okay, platform gets repeated, the timestamp when the game was played, the type, the match ID, and the map ID. So it's all very limited. This is not what we really want to see. We would prefer to, oh, apparently it's more than, should not, it's gonna be like something like 20 games, should be the last 20 games. But actually we want more detail. So let's go ahead and add the details endpoint. Then you see, okay, well, first you get a summary. So from those last 20 games, but then further down in the JSON, you'll get actually the detail per game. So this, if you pull the matches, let's say you just want a list of the last 20 matches, then so if you want data of the last 20 matches, you'll have to pull the data and then the matches. There we go. So now you get a list of your last 20 matches. So this is about it for that's all the data. So what do you get? Well, I don't want to go through all the data you get back. You can check this out yourself. There's quite a lot in it. So you have your player stats, the amount of kills you had in your last game. And it's like an important one. So your amount of deaths, the calculated kill-death ratio, the amount of gulag deaths. So you can using this you can you can calculate your gulag success rate, kill-death ratio specifically for the gulag. Your final rank, the loadout you used. So all this data, the perks, kill streaks is available per game. But that's up to you to go through and to see what you want to use. There's just a few extra parts I'd like to discuss in this video. Like an important one is your URL encoding. So let me just start a new note, a new box. So for example, I'll just use an example I already have. It's very important that you use your that you URL encode your usernames, because otherwise the calls will not work. Like for example, if you have any special characters, you can use URL-lib to parse them. The username. So this is actually URL safe. Now it can be used in your in your API call. So very important one. Any special characters should be URL encoded. Or for example, something you'll see quite often, or in any Battle.net ID, for example. So my Battle.net ID is I'll just copy it. So they have the hash sign in the middle. This is not URL safe, so you'll first have to parse it to make it URL safe. So it's mostly replaced by %23. So keep that in mind to URL encode your usernames. Next up are the Unix timestamps. So also quite important. or great or good to understand is the Unix timestamps. So let's say you want to get matches from before a certain timestamp, then you'll have to know what time, you have to calculate the right timestamp. So for example, the current time, let's just give you a short definition of what the Unix timestamp is. So Unix time is a system for describing a point in time, and it's a number. It's the number of seconds that have passed since the Unix epoch, and the Unix epoch is on the 1st of January 1970. So it's an easy way to put a date time into a number, So it's encoding time in a numeric way. So for example, to get the current time, so that's the current time in the Unix timestamp format, or in the Unix time format. Now, like I said, for the API endpoint, we'll have to use it's in seconds, so we'll have to multiply it by 1,000 to have it in milliseconds. Otherwise, it won't work, or the endpoint will not return any data. So that's it for the Unix timestamp. And then I have another small, this is a piece of code I have available on my GitHub. So it's just the small function to go through your entire match history. Let's copy paste it here. So what does it do? This is the timestamp of the last game. So 0. If you put 0 at the end, you'll always get your last 20 games. I add a stopping condition, matches found, which is by default true. My list of matches where in which I'm gonna put all the results, and then just a small while loop. So I get my last 20 games using the timestamp of the last game. But like I said, I start with 0. So for the very first call, we'll just get the latest 20 games. Maybe something else here that I forgot to mention. Like if you only want to return like 10 games, you can add an extra URL param saying, okay, I only want 10. 20 is the maximum. So for this, I'll just call 20. And then I do a check on the response I get on the matches list. And when I get 20 matches returned, then I put my matches that I have returned into the new matches. I change the timestamp of the last game, so that's the very last game in those return matches. So I can use this for my my next call. So I get the 20 matches before that. So it's the UTC start seconds that's returned in the response of a match. And then of course I add my return matches to my final list of matches. And then the second condition, if my response does not contain 20 games, I put the stopping condition matches found to false, because it means if there's only 19 matches returned in the response, it means that I have reached the last call, I have reached the last games in the response. And then I add a time sleep of 0.2 seconds. That's not to overload the Call of Duty API. in the loop, so I leave some time in between so I don't reach the rate limit. I don't know what the rate limit is. Nobody knows. It's not documented, but it's safe to build in some delays, so you definitely not get rate limited. And then, yeah, this is just to see how many matches are returned in my call. I should have started running it earlier because it takes some time already. I think I have about 1,200 games. Also an important one, you'll see that, in the response, you will have different kind of modes, game modes. Of course, we requested Warzone, but even inside Warzone, you'll have the Rebirth, Plunder, Resurgence, so different kind of temporary or non-temporary game modes. You'll have to filter these out if you want to know your kill death ratio, for example, for only the real Warzone Battle Royale game modes and not the Plunder ones or the other Resurgence kind of stuff. I'm not sure if which field this is. This is the one mode. So if you, like, for example, want to know your kill death ratio for your solo games, you'll have to filter on BR solos. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. In the next video, I'll go through how to filter these game modes using pandas, for example. Yep, that's it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed it.